The horizon drifted silently through the blackness of space, its hull reflecting distant starlight like scattered diamonds. Captain Adrian stood at the observation deck, staring at the endless darkness with a mixture of wonder and unease. He had traveled farther from Earth than anyone had before, leaving behind the familiar blue skies and green forests for a place where stars were the only companions. The crew moved quietly around him, each absorbed in their duties, but Adrian could feel a tension in the ship that no machine could measure. Something was calling to them, something that had been waiting in the void for reasons they could not understand. The signal had appeared days ago, small and almost imperceptible, buried within the normal cosmic noise of the universe. At first, the Horizon's computers struggled to make sense of it. It was unlike any transmission they had ever detected. Not sound, not light, not radio waves, something else entirely. Patterns shifted and twisted, almost as if the signal had a mind of its own. Adrian watched as the displays tried to map the strange sequences. The machines failed repeatedly, showing only fragments of the shapes and pulsing rhythms. Yet when he looked at the same patterns, something inside his mind seemed to recognize them. He did not know why, but he understood that this was not random. This was an invitation. He turned to his crew. "Have you ever seen anything like this?" he asked. His voice was calm, but there was a hint of excitement that betrayed the thrill he felt. Lieutenant Mara shook her head. Her eyes stayed fixed on the screen as the pulsing lights moved in ways no human hand could reproduce. "No, sir," she said. "It's beautiful, but also terrifying." The others murmured in agreement, exchanging looks of curiosity and fear. Adrian could sense their unease. It was natural. Most humans would be afraid when faced with something that defied explanation, but fear was not part of his nature. Curiosity had brought him here, and he refused to let it go. The Horizon's engines adjusted their course. The signal grew stronger as they approached a distant point in space, a place where no human ship had ever traveled. Stars stretched endlessly around them, but among their light a strange shimmer appeared. It was subtle at first, like a reflection off invisible glass. Then it grew, spreading across the observation window in waves that seemed almost alive. Adrian pressed his hand against the cool glass, feeling the vibration beneath his fingertips. "We are not alone," he whispered to himself. The words sounded small in the vastness, but they carried the weight of discovery. As the ship moved closer, the shimmer transformed into structure. Shapes became visible, towers and spires of a material that seemed to bend light itself. The alien station floated effortlessly, its form elegant yet impossible. It was enormous, far larger than any human city. Yet it appeared delicate, like crystal woven with threads of silver. Adrian's breath caught. The station was not just a building. It was alive with light, constantly shifting in patterns that seemed to pulse with intelligence. Even the crew, who had seen countless wonders in their training, could not hide their awe. They gathered around the observation deck, their eyes wide, hearts pounding. "Captain," Mara said, her voice trembling slightly. "What is it? Is it a ship?" Adrian shook his head. "I don't think it is a ship," he replied. "It is something far older and far more advanced than anything we know. And it is waiting for us." He felt a strange calm, as if a part of him had been preparing for this moment his whole life. His mind raced with possibilities, each one more incredible than the last. What civilizations could have built such a thing? How could they exist without leaving traces in human history? The questions were endless, but Adrian knew that answers would come only if he approached with courage and patience. Suddenly, the station pulsed brighter, and the air inside the Horizon seemed to hum with energy. The lights danced across the walls, reflecting in every surface, and Adrian felt a warmth that was not from the ship's engines. It was as if the station had acknowledged their presence, as if it had recognized that humans had arrived. The crew stepped back instinctively, but Adrian moved forward, drawn by a force he could not explain. He could feel the patterns of the signal intertwining with his thoughts, guiding him, urging him to reach out. For the first time, he understood that this was not just a discovery. It was a meeting, and humans had a role to play that no other species could fulfill. As the Horizon prepared to dock with the alien station, Adrian felt a mix of anticipation and determination. Every step forward was a step into the unknown, a place where rules of physics and logic might not apply. Yet he was ready. Humans had always survived by adapting, by imagining what others could not see, by refusing to give up in the face of danger. And now, on the edge of the greatest discovery in history, Adrian knew that humanity would face the impossible, and perhaps for the first time, understand the true power of its vision. The Horizon's docking clamps connected with the alien station, and the ship trembled slightly as if the station itself was alive and breathing. Captain Adrian felt a thrill unlike anything he had ever known. Every fiber of his being sensed that this was more than an exploration. It was a meeting, a moment that could change the understanding of humanity forever. The crew prepared the airlocks, but Adrian hesitated for a moment, staring at the shimmering surface of the station. It was smooth yet rippled with colors that seemed impossible, reflecting light in patterns that shifted like flowing water. The station was alive and it was watching. When the airlock opened, a wave of light flooded into the horizon, blinding yet mesmerizing. The crew squinted and shielded their eyes, but Adrian stepped forward without hesitation. The corridor beyond was wide, with walls that glimmered and pulsed as though they had a heartbeat. Strange symbols floated in the air, forming and dissolving like liquid. Adrian reached out instinctively, and for a brief moment the symbols paused as if recognizing his touch. A voice, or rather a thought, entered his mind. It was not spoken but clear and direct. "Welcome, human." Adrian's heart raced. He realized immediately that the beings here did not use words as humans did. They communicated through light, through patterns and emotion carried in vision. The message was simple yet profound. The station itself seemed to bend around him, guiding him forward. And for the first time he felt both fear and awe at the same moment. His crew followed, hesitating at first, but slowly stepping into the brilliance of the station. Every step revealed more wonders. The floor shifted beneath their feet, changing textures like water frozen mid-motion. Columns of light rose like towers, and soft beams formed pathways that led them deeper into the alien architecture. Then, they saw them. The alien women appeared in the central chamber. They moved with grace that seemed impossible, their forms luminous and shifting like living rainbows. Their skin reflected light in endless patterns, and their eyes carried colors that changed with every glance. Adrian felt the strange pull of intelligence, of awareness, stronger than any he had ever encountered. These beings were not merely observing, they were analyzing, understanding, and judging. The humans were small in comparison, fragile, yet somehow these aliens seemed intrigued rather than hostile. One of the alien women stepped forward. Her body radiated soft waves of light that resonated with Adrian's mind. He understood her thought immediately, though no sound passed her lips. "Why are you here? Why have you come to a place that is not yours?" Adrian took a deep breath. His voice trembled slightly, but he spoke clearly. "We seek knowledge. We wish to understand, to connect. We mean no harm." The alien woman's colors flickered rapidly. A reaction Adrian guessed was their version of emotion. Some of the other women paused, their attention shifting, watching him carefully. The leader's gaze seemed to pierce through him, testing every intention. Then in a sudden burst of brilliance the chamber changed. Light swirled around Adrian, forming visions that overwhelmed the senses. He saw landscapes that could not exist, machines that defied gravity, and worlds folded in impossible geometry. The vision struck him, powerful and dizzying, and for a moment he staggered. His crew held their ground, though some turned away, overwhelmed. Yet Adrian did not falter completely. Instead, he focused, finding patterns in the chaos. Every vision had structure, a hidden logic that only a human mind could trace when the rules of ordinary perception no longer applied. The alien women watched in silence. Some withdrew slightly, unsure how to react to the human who did not collapse under the onslaught. Others leaned closer, their curiosity growing. Adrian realized that these beings had built their civilization on mastery of perception, on control over what could be seen and understood. Yet they had not accounted for human stubbornness. Humans saw not just with their eyes, but with their imagination, with the ability to make sense of what should not make sense. He could survive this because humans had always thrived in impossible circumstances, finding strength in creativity and courage. As the visions faded, the chamber grew quiet. The leader of the alien women approached Adrian, her form radiating a softer light now, almost as if she were considering him a friend. She extended a hand, not in touch, but in a wave of thought. "You are not like others. You endure what others cannot. Perhaps you are worthy." Adrian met her gaze, feeling a connection that went beyond words. He nodded slowly, realizing that the human's first step into this alien realm was not just survival but understanding. They had reached out and been recognized, not merely as visitors, but as beings capable of grasping wonders beyond ordinary comprehension. The crew exhaled collectively, a mixture of relief and awe filling the space. Adrian stood at the center of the chamber, the pulse of light around him syncing almost rhythmically with his own heartbeat. For the first time, he felt the magnitude of what they had discovered. Humans had entered a realm where no one else could follow, and for the first time the station's ancient walls seemed to acknowledge their presence. Adrian knew that this was only the beginning. The alien women had not rejected them, but neither had they offered friendship freely. Everything to come would test the humans' courage, patience, and the qualities that had always made them unique. The journey had only begun, and already, the Horizon crew understood that the universe had opened a door to wonders they could not yet imagine. Humans were fragile, yes, but in their minds and hearts lay a light that no alien technology could extinguish. And as the chamber hummed softly around them, Adrian felt the thrill of destiny. They had reached the impossible, and in doing so, they had begun to prove why humans were capable of facing the unimaginable. The chamber's light pulsed slowly as the alien women observed the humans. Captain Adrian stood at the center, feeling the weight of countless eyes upon him yet refusing to shrink under their gaze. The station was magnificent, alive with brilliance that could blind ordinary beings, yet he had already proven that humans could endure what others could not. Still, the challenge was far from over. The alien women had not yet decided whether the humans were simply curious visitors or creatures worthy of respect. They intended to test every limit. Without warning, the walls around them rippled and beams of intense light shot across the chamber. Adrian felt them sweep past him like fast-moving rivers, each pulse bending reality and challenging perception. Crew members ducked instinctively, some shielding their eyes, but Adrian raised his hands, focusing on the patterns of the beams. Each wave of light carried both force and intention, trying to push him back, trying to prove that humans were fragile. He could feel the heat of the energy against his skin, and the pulsing rhythm of the chamber seemed to align with his heartbeat. It was a test of endurance and willpower. The alien women's forms shimmered in the brilliance, their faces unreadable yet full of purpose. They did not speak aloud. Instead, they projected thoughts through waves of light, messages that bypassed ears entirely. Humans are small. Humans are weak. Will you collapse under what you cannot control? Adrian could sense the skepticism in their judgment, but he refused to show fear. He focused on what humans had always done: find patterns, survive the impossible, and think beyond immediate danger. The beams of light were chaotic, but within them he detected order. Each pulse had a rhythm, a secret that he could follow if he trusted his instincts. He moved slowly through the chamber, stepping where the light allowed, dodging and weaving like a dancer in a storm. The crew followed, though with more caution. Lieutenant Mara's face was pale, yet her eyes shone with determination. She had always trusted Adrian's leadership, and now she needed that courage for herself. The humans realized quickly that brute force would not save them here. Strength alone could not protect them. Only insight, patience, and a willingness to endure could carry them through. They had to match the aliens in perception, in subtle understanding. Humans had always been underestimated, and this was no different. The beams increased in intensity. Colors that should not exist burned into vision, forming fractals and spirals that twisted reality. Crew members faltered, some swaying as if the chamber itself were bending their balance. Adrian steadied himself by focusing on the smallest details. The pulse of each beam, the shifting reflection in the walls, the subtle patterns that hinted at safety. He began to lead the crew through the chaos, pointing, signaling, showing them the human way of reading patterns others could not. The alien women watched closely. Their test was not simply about physical endurance, it was about intelligence, creativity, and the ability to adapt. After what felt like an eternity, the chamber shifted again and the beams slowed, then ceased. The humans stood, breathless but intact, having moved through the light with awareness and caution. The alien women remained silent, their forms glowing softly, almost with approval. Adrian could feel their judgment changing. They had expected humans to fail, yet here they were, navigating what no ordinary being could survive. The energy around them settled into calm, as if the chamber itself acknowledged the human effort. Adrian spoke quietly to his crew. "We've proven that we can endure. That is only the first step. Keep your minds clear and your hearts steady. They are testing us, but we are capable. Mara nodded, her confidence growing as she realized the truth in his words. Humans had a unique strength, an ability to persevere, to see what others could not, and to act even when the odds seemed impossible. The alien women had underestimated that strength, and now it was beginning to shine. One of the alien women approached closer, her light shifting to softer hues. She projected thought directly to Adrian. "You endure. You do not break. Your kind surprises us." Adrian returned the thought as best he could, using gestures and expressions to convey human understanding and respect. "We mean no harm. We seek knowledge. We wish to learn." For the first time, the alien woman's form seemed to shimmer in something resembling curiosity rather than challenge. The other women exchanged pulses of light, as if communicating silently among themselves. There was still caution, but a subtle acknowledgement had begun. Adrian realized something profound. Humans had survived the first test not through superior power or speed, but through resilience, perception, and determination. These qualities had carried humanity through countless challenges, from survival on Earth to reaching distant stars. Here, in a chamber designed to overwhelm the senses and crush confidence, those same qualities had shone brighter than any alien light. The alien women might have been masters of perception, but humans had mastered adaptation and courage. That combination was rare, and perhaps the reason the aliens had allowed them to enter at all. As the crew gathered together, catching their breath, Adrian felt a renewed sense of purpose. The trials were only beginning, but humans had already made an impression. Their presence was no longer accidental. It was meaningful. They had shown that even in the face of impossible challenges they could endure, and in that endurance they had begun to earn respect. The alien women had tested them, but they had not yet revealed their intentions fully. The humans had survived the first clash, and in doing so, they had begun a journey that could forever change the way the universe saw humanity. The chamber fell silent, yet the humans could feel a deeper pulse beneath the light. Captain Adrian sensed that the first challenge was only an introduction. The alien women had more tests, more trials to see if humanity could truly withstand the unknown. The walls began to shift subtly, rippling like liquid glass. What had once been a flat floor now appeared to fold upward, creating angles that seemed impossible, as if the very geometry of the chamber had abandoned its rules. The crew hesitated, exchanging nervous glances, but Adrian stepped forward. Humans had faced impossible landscapes before, and this was no different. Adaptation had always been their strength. The leader of the alien women projected thought once again, direct and clear. "This is the chamber of sight. Many have entered. All have failed. Will you fall, human?" Adrian's heart raced, but he replied silently through gesture and presence. "We do not yield easily. We endure." The chamber responded instantly. Beams of light swept across the room, bright and warm, carrying visions that wrapped around the crew like waves of water. Each vision was a test, a world collapsing into itself, mountains floating into the sky, rivers flowing backward. The humans' eyes struggled to follow, yet Adrian remained steady. He knew that fear could blind them, but focus could reveal the path. Lieutenant Mara took his hand, seeking strength in his presence. The crew gathered close, forming a line through the swirling visions. Each human moved differently, some crouching low to avoid illusions that seemed to strike from above, others stepping carefully through shadows that had no physical source. Every sense was challenged. The chamber of sight was not simply a room. It was alive, responding to thought, emotion, and perception. It sought to bend humans into giving up, to make them doubt their senses and their purpose. But humans were not machines. They could imagine beyond the obvious, see connections where others could not, and find courage in the face of chaos. The visions intensified. Strange beings appeared, creatures of impossible design, moving with speed and precision that the human eye could barely track. They struck at the crew. Yet when Adrian focused on their patterns, he realized they were predictable in ways humans could decipher. He called out silently to his team, guiding them through the invisible threats. Each step forward was a victory, not of strength but of mind and will. Humans had survived wars, natural disasters, and the harshness of space itself. This was merely another challenge, one that required them to combine all their experience with a calm and clear focus. Hours seemed to pass, though the chamber gave no sense of time. The visions grew more elaborate, forming illusions of home, of memories, and even of fear itself. Adrian saw visions of Earth, of the crew's families and the lives they had left behind. The alien women projected these carefully, testing attachment, loyalty, and resilience. Some crew members faltered, but Adrian's steady presence kept them grounded. He reminded them silently, "These are illusions. Focus on what is real. Move forward." His words were not heard aloud, yet his determination spoke louder than any sound. Finally, the walls began to stabilize. The chaotic visions dissolved into flowing light that no longer threatened but guided. A path emerged, glowing softly, leading to a chamber deeper within the station. The humans followed cautiously, hearts racing yet unbroken. The alien women watched from above, their light dimming slightly as if granting quiet approval. Adrian realized that the Chamber of Sight had done more than test them physically. It had tested their minds, their ability to remain human in the face of incomprehensible power. Humans were fragile, yes, but in thought and courage they had proven themselves extraordinary. At the entrance to the deeper chamber, the leader of the alien women approached Adrian again. Her light shimmered with new colors, soft and fluid, conveying a sense of curiosity rather than challenge. She projected thought to him. "Few endure the chamber. You do not break. Your kind surprises us." Adrian bowed slightly, understanding the gravity of her acknowledgement. Humans had shown that they could persevere where logic and power alone might fail. Strength alone was meaningless here. It was vision, courage, and spirit that mattered. Humans had something that the alien women, for all their mastery of perception, had not fully accounted for: resilience born from hope, ingenuity and determination. The crew gathered together, exhausted but exhilarated. Their muscles ached from moving through impossible illusions, and their minds were tired from deciphering visions beyond comprehension. Yet they were united, stronger in spirit than before. Adrian placed a hand on the glowing path ahead. He knew that this was only the beginning. The deeper chambers of the station would challenge them further, perhaps in ways no human had ever imagined. But now the crew had confidence. They had faced the Chamber of Sight and endured. Humans had once again proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they could adapt, survive, and thrive. Adrian looked back at his team. "We are not here to conquer," he said quietly. "We are here to learn, to endure, and to show what humans are capable of. Every challenge we face is proof that we can see the impossible and move forward." The crew nodded, inspired by his words. The alien women remained silent, observing, their light slowly dimming like stars retreating at dawn. Yet Adrian could sense a shift. Humans had earned more than survival. They had earned recognition. The path ahead would not be easy, but they were ready. The impossible had been faced, and the human spirit had shone brighter than any alien light. The deeper chamber was unlike anything the Horizon crew had imagined. Light flowed in soft currents, painting the walls with colors that shifted gently, creating patterns that seemed alive. Captain Adrian led his team forward, aware that every step could reveal another test. The alien women had already observed their endurance, yet he knew that survival alone would not earn their respect. Humans had to show more. They had to demonstrate creativity, insight, and the courage to act when faced with the unknown. The chamber's floor opened into a wide expanse, a place where floating platforms hovered above a vast void of shimmering light. The platforms moved slowly, rearranging themselves in patterns that challenged perception and balance. Crew members glanced at each other nervously. A single misstep could leave them stranded on a platform or plunge them into the glowing abyss below. Adrian studied the movements carefully, noting the rhythm and speed. He realized that this was not simply a test of balance. It was a test of strategy. To survive, they would need to think ahead, predict patterns, and act as one. Adrian raised his hand and pointed. "Watch the rhythm," he instructed. "Every platform moves with a pattern. If we move together, we can cross safely. We must trust each other and stay focused." Mara nodded, understanding immediately. Humans had long relied on teamwork in impossible situations, whether exploring harsh landscapes on Earth or surviving in the vacuum of space. Now their ability to cooperate, to adapt, and to make quick decisions would be the key to impressing the alien women. The crew began to step carefully onto the platforms. The first few moves were tense, each member testing their balance and timing. The light pulsed beneath them, responding almost as if it were alive, aware of every motion. The alien women hovered in the air, observing closely. Some colors in their forms shifted rapidly, signaling curiosity while others remained still watching silently. Adrian could feel their attention weighing on him, yet he remained calm. Humans thrived under pressure, and he intended to prove it. As they progressed, the patterns of the platforms became more complex. Some platforms disappeared temporarily, forcing quick adjustments, while others tilted unexpectedly. Crew members reacted instinctively, using balance, timing, and observation to continue moving forward. Adrian guided them with quiet commands, signaling when to jump or shift weight. The team began to move with fluid precision, coordinating steps as if they were part of a single organism. Every success built confidence, and even the more hesitant crew members found strength in their leader's calm focus. The alien women's attention intensified. Their colors shifted faster, displaying emotions that Adrian could not fully interpret, yet he sensed a growing respect. They had expected humans to fail when faced with chaos and danger, but here they were, navigating uncertainty with intelligence and coordination. It was not brute force that carried them forward. It was observation, reasoning, and trust. Humans could see what others could not, and they could act with purpose even when the environment seemed impossible. This was the quality the aliens had not fully understood until now. Midway across the expanse, a section of the platforms moved erratically, testing the crew's ability to adapt in real time. Adrian stepped forward, guiding them through the challenge. He noticed that subtle cues in the light patterns revealed safe paths. By interpreting these signals, he was able to lead his team across obstacles that seemed impossible at first glance. One by one, the humans moved with careful precision, each step reinforcing the alien women's realization. These beings were extraordinary not because of raw power, but because of their ability to observe, adapt, and overcome. As they reached the far side of the chamber, the final platform shifted to form a stable path, signaling the end of the trial. The crew exhaled collectively, relief and exhilaration washing over them. They had crossed what no other visitors had attempted successfully. The alien women hovered nearby, their light softening, shimmering in ways that seemed almost like applause. Adrian sensed approval, not spoken aloud, but conveyed through subtle shifts of color and pulse. Humans had not only endured, they had excelled through strategy, teamwork, and courage. Adrian turned to his team, pride in his eyes. "We have done more than survive," he said quietly. "We have shown that humans can understand, adapt, and act when faced with challenges beyond imagination. That is the strength they respect." Mara smiled, her confidence strengthened by the trial. The crew understood that this was more than a test of survival. It was an opportunity to prove what humans were capable of when thinking and acting together. The alien women approached, projecting thoughts of admiration directly to Adrian. "You navigate what others cannot. Your kind surprises us with foresight and unity." Adrian acknowledged them silently. Humans had faced countless challenges throughout history, but this was perhaps the most profound, proving to an advanced alien species that the human mind and spirit could rise above fear and chaos. The chamber had revealed not only the humans' endurance, but their capacity for innovation, observation, and teamwork. As they stepped onto solid ground, leaving the floating platforms behind, Adrian felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Humans had impressed the alien women not with weapons or technology, but with qualities that were uniquely theirs. Observation, patience, adaptation, and courage had carried them forward, and in doing so, they had begun to earn trust. The path ahead would remain dangerous, yet the humans had proven they were ready. In the heart of an alien world, they had begun to shine, showing that even against incomprehensible challenges, the human spirit could prevail. The chamber beyond the floating platforms was quieter yet charged with energy. Captain Adrian led the crew cautiously forward, knowing the trials were far from over. The alien women had watched their endurance and strategy, and now the humans would face a challenge that tested not just survival, but trust and understanding. The room expanded into a vast hall, its walls shifting with slow, graceful patterns of light. Shapes moved within the walls, almost like living shadows, observing every human movement. The air felt alive, humming with intelligence as if the station itself were assessing them. Adrian sensed this was the turning point. The alien women were no longer simply testing. They were judging, deciding whether the humans were worthy of greater knowledge. He spoke quietly to his team, his voice steady. "Every action counts. They watch not just what we do, but how we think and respond. Keep your mind sharp and your heart steady. Mara nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility on every step. Humans had always thrived under pressure, and now, more than ever, they needed to show that their qualities went beyond endurance. They needed to show empathy, insight, and courage. As they moved further, the walls of the hall rippled, revealing projections of other worlds. Some seemed familiar, like planets humans had studied, while others were entirely alien, filled with impossible landscapes and strange life forms. The alien women communicated through these visions, challenging the humans to understand meaning beyond simple observation. Adrian studied the projections carefully. He realized that the visions were not random. They contained patterns, hints, and even lessons. Humans could decipher them, but only if they approached with patience, curiosity, and careful thought. Suddenly, a series of luminous barriers appeared, cutting the hall into sections. Each barrier radiated energy that reacted to thought and emotion. The alien women watched silently, testing whether humans could navigate the space without causing harm or panic. Adrian took a deep breath. He knew brute force would fail. Humans had survived countless dangers on Earth by thinking creatively and acting with awareness. He guided his crew through the barriers, teaching them to respond to intuition and observation rather than force. Each movement was deliberate, measured, and mindful. Some of the barriers pulsed aggressively, threatening to push the crew backward. Others shimmered subtly, offering hints of the path forward. Adrian encouraged his team to work together, to interpret the patterns and to trust both their senses and their instincts. Humans had long relied on collaboration to achieve impossible feats, whether in space, on land, or in exploration. Now that same quality carried them safely through the hall. The alien women observed closely, their forms glowing brighter at times as if recognition was spreading among them. Halfway through, a sudden vision appeared. Adrian saw his own fears reflected back. Failure, loss, the vast loneliness of space. The illusion was powerful, yet he held firm, reminding himself that humans survived not because they were perfect, but because they faced fear and pressed on. Mara and the rest of the crew followed his example, grounding themselves in reality and trusting each other. The alien women studied every reaction, and Adrian could sense a shift in their judgment. Humans were no longer simply enduring. They were demonstrating understanding, wisdom, and the ability to act with composure under pressure. At the end of the hall, the leader of the alien women appeared again. Her light shifted softly, warm and calm. She projected thought to Adrian. You have endured. You have observed. You have understood. Your kind carries more than strength. You show insight and patience that surprise us. Adrian bowed slightly, knowing that this acknowledgement meant far more than any trial past. Humans had not only survived, they had proven themselves capable of comprehension, respect, and deliberate action. The other alien women approached, their luminous forms circling the humans in quiet fascination. Adrian sensed that trust had begun to form, fragile but real. This was not granted lightly. In the alien society, trust was earned through demonstration of skill, endurance, and understanding. Humans had shown all three. They had faced impossible tests, navigated chaos, and now they had moved with insight and collaboration. The alien women's recognition of their effort was a monumental shift, signaling a new phase in the humans' journey. Adrian addressed his team quietly, pride in his voice. We have reached a new level. They no longer see us only as intruders. They see potential, understanding, and courage. This is our chance to build a bridge, to show what humans are capable of beyond survival. Mara smiled, and the crew felt a shared sense of accomplishment. They had proven that human qualities, resilience, creativity, observation, and teamwork could shine even in alien realms where every rule they knew was challenged. The leader extended a hand of thought toward Adrian, a gesture of trust. You may proceed further. You may learn. You may witness truths reserved for those capable of perception and endurance. Adrian nodded, understanding the significance. Humanity had earned access to a realm of knowledge and insight that few species could imagine. The path ahead would still test them, but now it carried opportunity instead of mere danger. Humans had not only survived, they had begun to earn respect and trust, demonstrating that the qualities that made them fragile also made them extraordinary. As the crew prepared to move forward, Adrian felt the weight of history upon them. Humans had traveled far, endured impossibilities, and now stood recognized by a species beyond comprehension. The journey was far from over, but for the first time he sensed that humanity's vision, courage, and resilience had been acknowledged. The alien women had begun to see what humans had always known, that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit could rise, adapt, and shine brighter than any star. The final chamber unfolded before the horizon crew like a sky made of light. Soft, flowing colors stretched across the ceiling and walls, shifting constantly in patterns that seemed alive. Captain Adrian stepped forward, sensing the culmination of everything they had endured. Every challenge, every trial, every moment of focus and courage had led them here. The alien women awaited them, their luminous forms floating gracefully, observing with a quiet intensity that carried both judgment and curiosity. Adrian felt a mixture of pride and responsibility. This was the moment where humans could prove not just endurance or intelligence, but the qualities that had always defined them: courage, creativity, and the ability to inspire hope. He turned to his crew, who were still catching their breath from the previous trials. "We have reached this place because we never gave up. Every step we took, every challenge we faced has shown them what humans are capable of," he said. His voice was calm but carried the weight of conviction. Mara nodded, her eyes reflecting the shimmering light, understanding fully what they had achieved together. The chamber responded to their presence. Light moved around them as if dancing to their energy, forming patterns that were more intricate than anything they had encountered. It was as if the station itself was alive, welcoming them and yet still testing, asking silently if humans were worthy of its secrets. Adrian noticed that the alien women no longer sent chaotic tests or visions of challenge. Instead, her light pulsed softly, almost rhythmically, as though acknowledging the humans' achievements. The crew realized that their journey had shifted from survival to recognition. The leader of the alien women approached Adrian, her form radiating a soft, steady glow. She projected thought directly to him. "You have endured, observed, adapted, and understood. You carry a light that is unique. Few beings survive what you have, and fewer still gain understanding. You may see what others cannot." Adrian felt a wave of awe, knowing that these were not mere words but an invitation to something greater. Humanity had earned access to knowledge, insight, and understanding that had been reserved for those capable of true perception. He looked at his crew, who shared the same expression of wonder. The trials had been more than physical. They had tested minds, hearts, and spirits. Humans had prevailed because of qualities that no machine or technology could replicate: imagination, perseverance, and the will to act in the face of uncertainty. Adrian realized that this moment was not just about them as individuals, but about humanity itself. The alien women had recognized what humans could achieve, and in doing so, had opened a door to the stars in a way no other species had done before. The chamber shifted again, forming a path of flowing light leading toward the heart of the station. Adrian led the crew forward, each step deliberate and careful. The alien women followed silently, their attention respectful now, not threatening. Adrian could feel a profound connection forming, a bridge between species that had never before existed. Humans were not invaders or intruders here. They were participants in a shared understanding, capable of perceiving truths and visions that others could not. As they reached the central core of the station, light condensed into a brilliant form that seemed to encompass the universe itself. The alien women hovered around, their pulses in harmony with the human crew's sense of awe and wonder. Adrian felt a deep sense of destiny. Humanity had proven itself not through dominance or power, but through resilience, intelligence, and the ability to see beyond the impossible. The station responded to their presence with patterns that seemed to acknowledge every trial they had faced, every step they had taken, and every act of courage and insight they had shown. The leader spoke again, projecting thought that resonated through Adrian's mind. "You are worthy. You are capable. Through you, humans may see beyond themselves, and through your spirit, others may understand the extraordinary in the ordinary. Your kind carries hope, and hope is the light that surpasses all others." Adrian nodded, understanding that this was the essence of what the alien women had been testing. It was not just survival or endurance. It was the human spirit itself that had earned recognition, respect, and opportunity. The crew stood together, silent but united, feeling a shared sense of triumph. Humans had crossed impossible landscapes, endured overwhelming visions, navigated chaos with strategy and intuition, and now stood recognized by a civilization whose brilliance surpassed imagination. Adrian felt a quiet pride, knowing that humanity had not only survived the alien trials but had shown in a way that no other species could. The alien women's recognition was not given lightly, and it confirmed what humans had always known: courage, imagination, and the will to endure could overcome even the most unimaginable challenges. As they prepared to leave the central core, the station seemed to pulse with warmth and light, almost as if acknowledging their passage. The alien women's forms shimmered one last time, a silent blessing of sorts. Adrian knew that this journey would be remembered, not just by humans but by the alien women as well. Humanity had proven itself worthy, and in doing so, had earned a place among wonders previously beyond reach. For the first time, the Horizon crew looked outward, toward the stars beyond the station, and felt the weight and promise of the universe in their hands. They had entered a place that few could comprehend, survived trials no others could endure, and had been recognized for qualities unique to humans: courage, resilience, and hope. Captain Adrian smiled, realizing that humanity had not only reached the impossible, but had done so with brilliance, earning a light of its own in a universe filled with stars.